Welcome back to this Derek Smith Spiel weekly update. This one, it's going to be a 2-weeker, June 3rd through June 16th. I was unable to record last week's because I was in Orlando, Florida, enjoying Universal Studios with my fellow seniors. That was the class of 2025 senior trip for Letchworth. It was awesome. Really fun trip. Let me fix this audio real quick. And we'll get into sports. Starting off in the NFL, will Saquon Barkley be affected by the Madden cover curse? The Madden cover curse is every year the topic comes up. Who's going to be on the cover? Who's going to be the next victim of the Madden cover curse? This year it's Saquon Barkley, and let's take a look at the last 10 years and see how the Madden cover curse applied to the players, or if it's even real. Madden 25, the cover athlete was CMC, Christian McCaffrey. He played in just 4 games the following season, struggling with injuries, and the 49ers had a subpar season, to say the least. Madden 24, Josh Allen. This one's, you kind of got to stretch it. He threw a career-high 18 interceptions. However, he had a great year. Obviously, this year he won MVP, but he is 0-4 in the AFC Championship. Madden 22, it was Mahomes and Brady on the cover. Mahomes had his worst statistical season this year and got blown out in the Super Bowl. Again, that was, 3 years? Yeah, that was 3 years after he was on the Madden cover, and Brady was unaffected, unless you want to call retiring affected, but no. Madden 21, it was Lamar Jackson. Lamar was unaffected. Madden 20 was Mahomes. Again, he was unaffected, unless you count the blowout in the Super Bowl or his worst season last year, which that's so far out. I don't count that. Madden 19, Antonio Brown, probably the worst victim of it. His prime and career with Pittsburgh just ended abruptly. He became a very controversial figure and is speculated to have a major brain injury or CTE. Even recently, after I wrote this little bit on my loose script, if you can call it that, Antonio Brown's getting into more trouble. It all went downhill after Madden 19 for Antonio Brown. Madden 18 was Tom Brady. He was unaffected. Madden 17 was Gronk. He struggled with injuries and ended his career, or retired for the first time, I should say, while he was on the injured reserve. That was the 2018 NFL season, Madden 17. Madden 16 was Odell Beckham Jr. He was unaffected. He had a good couple years after being on the Madden cover. Obviously, it's hard to live up to that one-handed catch, but he was unaffected. Madden 15 was Richard Sherman. He was unaffected. So really looking at the Madden cover curse, has it affected people? Yes, it affected Antonio Brown. Oh, who else? Calvin Johnson. He retired after being on the Madden cover. Michael Vick, I'm pretty sure he got busted for, his dogfighting rank. Year after he was on the Madden cover. There was that running back from the Browns who turned into a one-year wonder. You can see why a superstitious person would pick up the Madden cover curse. Saquon shouldn't be affected by the curse. It is interesting to look back at the superstition, though. And if you want to you want to make a sports bet, do something risky, speculate a little bit. You could see Saquon Barkley's struggled with injuries. If the Madden cover curse is real, maybe he'll get injured this year. I don't even want to speak that into existence. I feel rotten for saying that. But that's probably what the strong believers in the Madden cover curse are thinking right now, that Saquon's going to get injured. But I'm saying it loud and clear right now. Saquon Barkley will not be affected by the Madden cover curse. Next up in the NFL, we gotta touch on the Stephon Diggs incident. Stefan Diggs was caught with an unidentified pink substance in a video on a boat, and the NFL announced that it is the Patriots' decision to handle the situation. I want to clear up, last week, when I first read the article, I read it, Stefan Diggs flashed a random pink substance. That's what I read. So when I read that, I thought Stefan Diggs was revealing himself to this unidentified pink substance on the beach, like he was flashing something, exposing his privates. So I had a misunderstanding of the situation. Turns out he was really just doing drugs, so I'm not that interested in it anymore. I thought he was doing something crazy, like just, drinking and letting it all hang out at the beach, but no, he's just doing drugs on his yacht. It's boring. It's boring. Everyone's heard that story before. A millionaire doing drugs on a boat. Nothing interesting. And of course, the NFL isn't. I shouldn't say of course. It's interesting the NFL isn't taking action on this one. They are making it the Patriots' decision. And the Patriots coach, Vrabel, so far he's using the incident to drive home the point that good decision making is very important. Stefan Diggs did show up to a voluntary practice after this absence and said, "Nice to see you all," as he walked by and waved to the reporters. So he seems to be in a decent mood, unaffected by being caught with whatever that pink substance was. Teammates and coaches said that he has barely been around since being signed by the Patriots. The practices are voluntary, so no one really needs to show up, but the coaches obviously want players to be there. Stefan Diggs coming in, he's supposed to be the electric wide receiver on the Patriots, something that they haven't had really since Julian Edelman left. The Patriots have not had a solid wide receiver, and they're hoping Stefan Diggs can recover from his ACL tear last year and step in and be that guy who brings electricity to their offense, and it's not looking promising. What sounds even worse is he was the first wide receiver to show up to voluntary practices. He showed up late, hasn't been seen all offseason until he was doing drugs on his yacht, and now he's showing up, saying hi to the camera guys like this is just another day in New England. That's the pace that's being set right now, and it's not looking very promising at all. He can really only do so much because he's still recovering from his ACL tear. So even though he's showing up to practices, it's walkthroughs, and it's not looking good. If I were a Patriots fan, I would not be happy at any of this, any of it at all. But the offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels, said that he is still confident that Stefan will do his studying and be 100% ready in September. So if the offensive coordinator trusts him, I guess as a fan, just blindly trust him. Don't think about the situation too much. Don't listen to anything I just said. Just take a deep breath and know that Stefan Diggs, he'll be ready for the season because Josh McDaniels said so. The Lions center, Frank Ragnow, he announced his retirement at age 29. Frank Ragnow played 7 seasons and was a 4-time Pro Bowler, a truly dominant center in the NFL, and this is a huge loss for the Lions. Frank Ragnow's quote, he posted this on Instagram. "These past couple of months have been very trying, as I've come to the realization that my football journey is ending and I'm officially retiring from the NFL. I've tried to convince myself that I'm feeling good, but I'm not, and it's time to prioritize my health and my family's future. I have given this team everything I have, and I thought I had more to give, but the reality is I simply don't. I have to listen to my body, and this has been one of the hardest decisions of my life. The Lions organization has been absolutely incredible throughout the process, and I can't emphasize this enough how grateful I am for this team and all the fans. It was an absolute honor going to battle for you all. Again, Ragnow posted that on Instagram. That was his direct quote. Ragnow was made the highest paid center in the NFL when he was signed to a 4-year, $54 million extension prior to retiring. He will obviously get the guaranteed money, but the rest goes back to the Lions. In 2021, Ragnow played the season with a fractured throat. Last season, he played 16 games, only missing one game because of a partially torn pectoral. So Ragnow has suffered serious injuries throughout his career. Despite being 29, I'm sure his body does feel like he's 37 and it's time to hang up the cleats. And that's his decision. He's not only thinking about self-preservation, thinking about keeping himself happy and healthy, but he's thinking about his family. He's being a dad. He wants to be there for his kids, and you've got to respect him for that. Frank Ragnow is making a very tough decision to walk away from what he devoted his life to since probably middle school or high school, and now he's calling it quits. He's going to be a dad and just try and salvage the rest of his health in his body. It's obviously a very tough decision for him, but I hope everyone in Detroit supports him in his decision, especially everything he's done for the community. He won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. He's just a great guy. With that being said, what does this retirement mean for the Lions' offensive line? As of right now, it looks like Tate Artist will have to step up and fill Ragnow's shoes, and that will not be easy to do, especially as a rookie. How will he look against these grown men at defensive tackle, all these big boys? He's got to snap the ball and get his head right up and just face the best competition he's ever faced. What's that going to look like for Tate? It is concern. As a Lions fan, it's concerning. Not really sure what it's going to look like. They've also lost other offensive linemen. But all the questions will be answered this season, which is not very comforting, but we'll just have to wait and see. Wait and see what Dan Campbell does with a new offensive coordinator and a new offensive line. All the Lions' success really has come from their offensive line and their threat of the run game. If I will say, if there's one thing the Lions know how to do and have made their culture, it is the next man up mentality. Look at their defense last year. One of the most injured units, not one of, the most injured unit in the NFL, and nobody complained about it. They just stepped up and did their best, and that's what Tate's going to do. The Lions drafted him for a reason. It'll be an interesting and possibly sick experiment to see how Tate does at center, because as of right now, it looks like that's what's going to happen. Bouncing back over to the AFC, Aaron Rodgers has officially been signed to the Steelers on a 1-year deal. Rodgers is 41 years old and has had a large drop-off since he has been with the Jets. The past 2 seasons, he ranked 26th and 25th in passer rating. And passer rating is Aaron Rodgers' MO. That's what he's known for. He's got the highest passer rating in NFL history. Extremely efficient. Look at the touchdown to interception ratio. It's insane. And that's coming from a Lions fan. I hate the guy. I cannot stand Aaron Rodgers. At first, it was just because he was the Packers quarterback, and then when you actually hear him talk, you realize he's a blowhard. But the guy knows how to throw a football. He's phenomenal. He is not the Aaron Rodgers of the past, but he could serve as a bridge quarterback while the Steelers try and develop their next franchise quarterback. He's 41. He tore his Achilles. He's been bottom tier in passer rating for the past 2 years. But he will be consistent. He will be consistent for the Steelers, and he will have a lot of information to give the Steelers' young quarterback core. I think it's a good pickup for the Steelers, really. They needed someone at quarterback, some veteran presence other than Mason Rudolph. So is this a world breaker? Is this going to make them an 11-plus win team? No. But it will bring them consistency and a mentor. So good pickup for the Steelers. The Texans, kind of a similar sign-in in a different way. But the Texans signed Nick Chubb to a 1-year, $2.5 million deal. Nick Chubb is a 4-time Pro Bowler coming off a broken foot injury he sustained last season. Chubb ranks 4th on the Browns' rushing leaders with 6,843 yards. He accumulated that total in his 7 years with the Browns, and the Browns organization was very thankful for the effort and electric plays that Chubb brought to Cleveland. They gave him a very warming exit presentation, for lack of a better term. They sent him off very well. They have very fond memories of him, and they wanted to let him know that Cleveland appreciates him. And even though Cleveland didn't win the Super Bowl or even have the success they wanted with Nick Chubb was a beacon of light in the disappointment in all the Cleveland Browns season. Nick Chubb was truly electric. He's a phenomenal running back, but he has not gained back his steam since his gruesome leg injury in 2023. I can picture it in my head. It looked like his leg bent the totally wrong way. I've always had this fear of like resting my foot on a chair so my leg's straight, and then someone will just walk by and put all of their weight on my knee, and my leg just completely snaps the opposite way. That is basically exactly what happened to Nick Chubb. It was disgusting. Like, watching the replay gave me a stomach ache. It was a truly gruesome is the perfect word for that injury. After that injury, he only rushed for 332 yards with 3.3 yards per attempt before breaking his foot. He has not been the same running back since. However, he hasn't had the time to gain back his momentum and confidence. He broke his, like I said, after that he broke his foot. It's been a rough stretch for Chubb. However, having Nick Chubb even at 50%, and he's lining up with Joe Mixon in the backfield, that is a scary duo. Mixing Nick Chubb, who can still run through people, be a third down back at the least, and then Joe Mixon, and they've got Agumbawale. They've got three running backs who can each hurt you in a different way. This was a great pickup by Houston. Now imagine if Nick Chubb, if he finds his stride again. This is amazing. To me, it seems like a low-risk pickup for the Texans. I'm a huge fan of it. Huge fan of it. Now, on to the MLB. Why don't you take a guess who the biggest hater of the Yankees' new stance on allowing well-groomed beards is? Spoiler alert, it is not Stephen A. Smith. I'll just get that out right now. It was the players' wives. You heard me correctly. The biggest hater of the Yankees' new rule that they are allowing well-groomed beards is the Yankees players' wives. DJ LeMahieu's wife, Jordan, she made it clear to DJ the day after the rule was passed that he was staying clean-shaven. Cody Bellinger's wife, she was ecstatic when he was traded to the Yankees because she knew they would make him be clean-shaven. Cody Bellinger always had some type of beard or gruff going on. The biggest reason she was happy for him going to the Yankees was because she knew he would be clean-shaven. that's who would have thought that the biggest appeal to go into the Yankees would be that your wife's happy because now you gotta shave your face. Also, take notes out there. Maybe clean shaven is the way to go. It certainly looks like every wife on the Yankees appreciates it. I will say Garrett Cole's house is split. Garrett Cole's wife likes a little scruff. So, I mean, there's ladies out there that like everything. Don't get too discouraged. But Garrett Cole's kids do not like whisker burns. Garrett Cole, I guess, hands out some whisker burns when he's wrestling with his kids. So his kids don't like the gruff, but his wife does. Now let's take a look at Paul Skeens. I saw this on Instagram. Paul Skeens has 21 winless outings in his career. His stats in those games, he has a 2.59 ERA, a 0.84 whip, and a 9.6 strikeouts per 9 ratio. So that's just further proof you cannot judge a pitcher based on his wins and losses. The pitchers can only do so much out there. If they aren't getting the run support, they aren't going to get the win. Paul Skeens, obviously an amazing pitcher, and the run for the Cy Young Award, and he's earned it. Listening, man, you should listen to the Vanity Fair interview with Livy Dunn and Paul Skeens, and just because after listening to that, I don't look at Paul Skeens the same. He's a great pitcher. I don't see him as anything else. He was just, you gotta watch it. Gotta watch it for me to explain it. This is where I wish I had someone here and I could have a live reaction just watching that video, hearing the things Paul Skeens was saying. Like, Livy Dunn would be like, Paul, what's my favorite food? I don't care, I throw a 100-mile-per-hour fastball. Those were the vibes he was throwing off. So yeah, great pitcher. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It was ridiculous. The first word that came to my mind was blowhard. But out of the MLB and onto the UFC. UFC 316, that happened while I was in Florida. I was not able to stay up and watch it. The flight wiped me out. I was suffering from some jet lag. What did I miss? Merab submit Sean O'Malley in round 3, and Kayla Harrison submitted Juliana Pena in round 2. What does that look like for Sean O'Malley? Sugar Sean seemed in good spirits after such a discouraging loss. In the post-fight interview, really in everything, he just seemed okay. He seemed at peace, didn't seem discouraged or defeated, which is always great to see. A part of that is a change in mindset. Sean O'Malley was talking about how he isn't looking at it as, I lost to Merab, I can't beat Merab, he's better than me. He's not looking at it like that. He's not looking at it like, I just lost everything I've worked for. The way he approaches the fight is, I have the opportunity to win the belt, to put on a show for all my fans, and to just do what I love. And he lost, whatever. He embraced the challenge. He's on to the next one. He's got a very healthy mindset. It was really nice to hear. One narrative before the fight for Sean O'Malley was the semen retention topic, which is basically male fighters do not release themselves before a fight to try and build up testosterone. Is that a myth or is it truth? For Merab and Sean O'Malley, neither of them have had good luck with the retention approach. Merab used to do that, and he went 1-2 in his MMA debuts, and then he stopped, and I mean, look at him now. Sean O'Malley, he tried it before the Merab fight, just a different dedication. He wanted to make sure that he did everything to be able to perform at his highest level. I still believe he was in a healthy mindset, even though he tried the retention thing. He was submitted in the third round. So there's no real scientific evidence that I have found that retention boosts your testosterone or makes you more masculine, stronger, aggressive, I guess. But at this high level, if that's what a fighter wants to do to put him in a good mental state, I think that's the biggest aspect of it. If Sean O'Malley truly felt that he performed better because he tried semen retention and just held that in, then if he mentally feels better, that goes significantly further than the minimal difference it could have made in his testosterone levels. These guys are at such a high level. Everyone knows how to do everything. It's not like somebody's got a secret move or a secret technique. Yeah, some people do it better than others, but everyone knows everyone is at the highest level. Everyone in the UFC is at the highest level and knows what the other person is going to do, how to defend it, how to counter it, how to get to their offense. There is no minimal improvement physically that can make that big of a difference, other than steroids, obviously, but that's a different conversation. But if one, at this high level, the mental game truly matters. If Sean O'Malley or anyone, any male feels more confident in themselves for doing anything, I don't care if it's only wearing one sock the day before a fight, if that makes them feel mentally more comfortable, that is what makes the biggest difference. So there's a lot of like, oh, is it myth or true, the semen retention thing? It doesn't matter. If that's what makes a fighter feel better about their performance, let them do it. Let these guys be superstitious. So what? Now Merab, what does it look like for Merab after a statement win against Sean O'Malley? The first win was a decision, which Merab clearly won. This win, he left no questions. It didn't even go to the scorecards. Merab's on top of the world right now. It appears that he is set to face Corey Sandhagen for his second title defense. Obviously, the pen hasn't been put to paper yet, but that is what looks next. This brings up the question. This win, it truly brings up the question: is Merab the bantamweight GOAT? Is he the greatest of all time to do it at bantamweight? He only has 2 title defenses so far, and the most in the division is TJ Dillashaw with 5, so he could just go on a streak and break TJ Dillashaw's record. But as of right now, the 2 title defenses, it seems like it could be early to call him the GOAT. However, he's on a 13-fight win streak, only 2 behind Islam Makhachev, who has 15. He is also the all-time leader in successful takedowns in the UFC, with 97 in his 15 fights. 15 fights in the UFC, and he has 97 takedowns, already the leader in total takedowns, which is insane to hear. Oops, sorry about that. I didn't know that until I read it in an ESPN article. Absolutely crazy. I think if Merab, I feel like it would be too early right now to call him the greatest of all time at bantamweight. But I think if he gets a couple more wins, I don't think it's a stretch at all. It might be a lock, honestly. He is on pace to be the best in the bantamweight division. It's crazy the early success he has had. And it'll be really exciting to see if he can keep it going. Now on to the females. Kayla Harrison. dominated every aspect of her fight against Juliana Pena. Harrison will make her first title defense against Amanda Nunes. That is an amazing super fight. Kayla Harrison obviously just won the belt. Amanda Nunes is the greatest female fighter of all time, but that Kayla Harrison has dominated everyone in the female division. And for Amanda Nunes, it was rumored that Nunes would come out of retirement and fight the winner of the Pena-Harrison fight, but it was really unexpected. And for Nunes to go out into the octagon, and both of the fighters, they really shared a moment. Kayla and Amanda have nothing but respect for each other. Kayla, she wants to fight the best, and Amanda feels the same way, and both fighters mutually agree that the best fighting the best is themselves. It was really interesting to see the stare down, the handshake, all of it. It was an interesting dynamic. It was a cool moment. Obviously, the fight is going to be much, much cooler. But a big question for the fight is Nunes the underdog? Is the GOAT, the greatest of all time in women's mixed martial arts? Is she going to be the underdog against Kayla Harrison? And she might be. She's been out of the octagon. She hasn't fought since she won her belt back, became the double champion again against Juliana Pena, which was an extremely decisive, dominant performance. But that was, that was 2 years ago now. 2 years without being in the octagon. Meanwhile, Kayla Harrison has been on the grind. Chael Sonnen and everyone says you don't get better at fighting by not fighting. Will Amanda Nunes have any cage rust? Will she be in good enough shape? Will she be able to handle the weight cut? There's a ton of questions. They'll be answered probably even prior to the fight. Keep your eyes out on Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. That'll be a banger. And finally, are the first fight octagon jitters real? A big conversation after UFC 316 was the first fight octagon jitters. Patchy Mix was one of the most dominant fighters in his league prior to coming out to the UFC. He had his first fight in UFC 316, first UFC fight, I should say. He is a praised grappler. That he wrestles best. He is at his best when there is no space between him and his opponent. He did not attempt a takedown in his UFC debut until the third round. He was almost unrecognizable in his first fight. There have been, and Patchy Mix isn't the only one. There have been Pitbull. I can't remember his name. Pitbull. In his UFC debut, he wasn't the best version of himself either. The answer is yes. The first UFC fight, it has to be totally different. Most people train, even though there's tons of different organizations, everyone in the world, the UFC is considered nationally to be the best of the best in the whole entire world. So no matter where you are training to get to the UFC. And when you're called up by Dana White to fight and asked to prove yourself on a UFC stage, the pressure I'm surprised it doesn't crush them even worse. It's unbelievable to be unexpectedly invited to your dreams. It's right at the doorstep, and then they put you against one of the other best fighters in the world. It's no surprise to me that the fighters who are fighting for the first time in the UFC, it's no surprise to me at all that they underperform or are unrecognizable. It's it's tough. There's so much that goes into it. There's a ton that goes into it. It's truly a mental game. It truly is. That's probably the theme of the UFC news this week. Not that I'm big into themes. This isn't an English class. This is sports updates. And with that, that's all I've got for June 3rd to June 16th. Thanks for listening.
This episode was brought to you by yours truly, Derek Smith, with help from the voice memos and Spotify Podcasters app. For more content like this, you can continue listening to the Derek Smith Spiel on Spotify, or you can listen on my YouTube channel at Derek Smith Stock 13. There you'll find my podcast and sports betting videos on top of that. If you're a fan of my sports betting videos, you can also see highlights of those on my TikTok account. You can find that by searching at SmithStock5 again on TikTok. Enjoy collecting cards? If so, check out my Collects account at Derek Smith Stock to get deals on quality cards. For updates on everything I mentioned, follow my Instagram account. You can find that by searching Derek Smith Stock 13 on Instagram. Not interested in sports? Then go to YouTube and watch Dylan Smith Outdoors YouTube channel. Search Dylan Smith Outdoors, where there are plenty of outdoor content videos, including hunting, catching, trail cam and tree stand setup, cooking, and plenty of laughs in between. Need your lawn sprayed? Whether it's weeds or insects, Greenwood Ecologics has you covered. If you need help making your lawn greener than your neighbors, call Greenwood Ecologics at 585-739-1610. I repeat, 585-739-1610. Finally, thank you for listening to this production of the Derek Smith Spiel. Every view or listener is appreciated. I'll catch you later.